and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Entrepreneur with a small twist today. So this is going to be our Thanksgiving episode, you guys, but instead of bothering another entrepreneur to come on, we actually wanted to make sure that I introduce you guys to my new team. Not very new, at least Vivian, you're new, but Robert's been here for some time. One of the big things with the growth of any company, you guys, is that it's just not me anymore. It used to be just Edgar, but now I have a team. So today I want to introduce you guys to the people that are behind the scenes a lot, that make a lot of the things happen, from phone calls to admin work to creating content for you guys. And I'll let them introduce themselves. So I got Robert here and Vivian. When whoever wants to go first, introduce yourself.
I think we both know that's
Rock,
not
paper,
me.
scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors.
All right. I am Robert Nunez. I do everything behind the scenes at E.Sierra Media. And by everything, I mean, like, I'm going to edit this podcast. I'm going to edit the video portion of this podcast.
You're going to make the teaser.
I'm going to make the teaser. I'm going to make, like, all the graphics for it to be posted online or on socials.
Yep.
The only thing I don't do, actually, is schedule the posts out, which is something that Vivian has helped with, which is a lot of help, actually.
Yeah.
You say that, but you just listed the other 14 things that you do.
I mean, I enjoy it, so it doesn't really matter. I just chuck to myself. I'm not good at this.
You're good.
That's why I belong behind the scenes. Behind the camera.
So tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll lead up to your interview, because that's a great story to tell. So tell us about your background, where you grew up, where you went to school and all that.
I was born in South Lake Tahoe, and by the time I was like 5 years old, my parents were expecting another baby, and they immediately felt that our house wouldn't be big enough, right? Yeah. So then I moved to Carson when I was like 5. I hadn't started school yet, so that's good. I started school in Carson, lived there my entire life, basically. Boring little city, but like honestly, I attribute that little city to my like artistic eye, because like I was able to make the mundane something that I was like something that was interesting to look at, you know?
Right.
So I'm pretty grateful that I grew up in Carson City. Got a little niche group of friends and simple, humble life. And then I moved up here for college, with the intention of becoming an atmospheric scientist, which we all know that didn't play out, which is why I'm right here.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
But honestly, I think it didn't play out, not because, you know, I don't have like the wits or like the will to do that, but more so because I just love media so much. Like when I tell you I get excited by looking at like photos or like videos that are like made well, like it just like burns a passion inside of me, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful that I work here now. Like I don't really view it as work. I view it as like I look forward.
This just turned into a hostage video. Like
no, I'm serious.
I like that I work here. Please don't get rid of it.
Is that what it's sounding like? Cause like
no. You're being genuine, but
it's just funny because you were like, I like working here. Please.
No, I genuinely do. Like I don't even like I look forward to coming to work, which is like
awesome,
something I wouldn't have. I wouldn't change it for anything else. You know what I mean?
That's great to hear.
I think I found something that I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome.
And how old are you now?
I'm 24.
24, young.
24.
Single, married, engaged.
I am in a relationship.
Sucks for you ladies.
Yeah.
Like this is for Tinder.
Yeah. I got a ring on my finger almost.
You guys, let's talk about Robert getting hired. So Robert wasn't supposed to be hired. Yeah. Maybe, did you know this?
No.
This is a hostage video.
His resume actually went into spam in my email, and it was funny because I was ready to interview a bunch of people. Got to the last interview, and he reaches out through Instagram. He goes, "Hey man, I don't want to be a bother or anything, but did you happen to get my resume?" I was like, "No." And looked at his resume. I was like, "Oh, dude, it was in spam." And then I said, "Show up at the interview," and you were my last interview out of like, I think it was like 9 people.
You saved the best for last.
Yep. And then yours was the complete polar opposite, but we'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, and it was weird. So you guys understand a little bit of the background between me and Robert was we didn't really like each other, didn't know each other.
I mean, we saw each other.
Yeah, we saw each other at UNR.
Like the photo studio.
Yeah, in the photo studio. And the reason I didn't like Robert, and the reason I didn't because
This is a hostage.
yeah.
No, all right, you're gonna have to give me a turn to say why I didn't like you next.
Okay, perfect.
It's only fair.
So there was somebody in our class that was just like obsessed with him, and I could not stop hearing about Robert. But I didn't know him. I couldn't judge him like on who he was. I basically judged everything I heard, and he sounded like just somebody I would not get along with. But I never attempted to talk to him, and realistically, we only saw each other maybe a total of like a couple hours.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Never got to know him, and we never talked. So it was even interesting to me that he reached out and said, "Hey, did you get my resume for the position?" And that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
That was like...
Well, it also was like I graduated into the world like in shambles.
Right.
So I was like kind of desperate to find somewhere to work.
Exactly, because we both graduated right in the middle of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for somebody because we were having new clients come on that needed both social media, needed assets for announcements of delivery services for that, and Sierra Nutrition was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert came in at the perfect time, and I was actually losing clients because of the time restraint that I had. I could not give everybody the amount of time they needed, and so Robert came in, and that was a good decision. It was the best decision, and it was funny because we actually took our graduation photos together.
Yeah.
And I remember we were talking about that then. That we're like,
so weird.
If you would have told me, 3 years ago that I was taking photos with E.Sierra, or
even like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, like we would have never thought that would have happened.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect match. Poor Robert came in first as just doing admin stuff, so he was just like filing and stuff like that. And then quickly turned into you doing a lot of Illustrator stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that cool stuff that he really wanted to do, and now that's all you do now. Go ahead and tell me why you hated me, so we don't make this.
Well, I didn't hate you, but it was just
I didn't like you.
So like those photo classes we were in, they're like structured.
Yeah.
In a way that it's like more so like art.
Yeah.
Photos, right? And I fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
Right? Am I allowed to cuss? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's too late now.
Too late now,
yeah. So I loved it, right? And then you were like in some of my classes, right? So I would see you make projects out of like thin air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you didn't put any like concept to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this guy just like bullshitting his way through this class. He doesn't really know what he's talking about and shit. But then like I quickly found out that like photography has a huge spectrum.
Yeah.
And you're like more on the commercial side, you know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Whereas I like just do weird photos that look cool still, but completely opposite of you.
Yeah.
So I completely judged you just based off of like you don't make artistic photos, therefore you're not a good photographer. But like you are a great photographer. Just different kinds.
and just so you guys know, I know you keep saying weird, but dude, you have some photos that are just dope. And you've created content, even before you worked here that I admired.
Thank you.
And I mean, even in those classes we were in, I was like, damn. And just the way that you saw me, I saw you. I'm like, that's kind of garbage. I mean, I could set up my phone like that. But there's so much to back into it, you know? There's so much to the back end. And when you finally talk me through your process, and sometimes like the way that I do things can be super complex, right? In the sense that I use always a one light setup. I'm always caring about lighting.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, sometimes you just take a photo and it's just.
Well, I think the difference between you and I is like you're very reliant on like technique and equipment, where I'm like more so looking at composition,
right,
and like the overall flow of the photo,
right,
or like what it tells you
just by seeing it.
Yeah, like it like has like a story or a concept or something. But in terms of like technique photos, you're the king at that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I think we like that was the best thing that happened after I hired you, was that having that second point of view really helped us shape a lot of the things that we were doing.
No, yeah, we complement each other.
Exactly, and that really worked. And so you guys know, I immediately after Robert got hired on, it was just a big change. Like we were kind of working a shit ton. There was a lot we were doing, especially with Sierra Nutrition at the time. I still remember icing you. What was it, like a month in? I think I still have the video. Poor Robert. He legit told me, I can't chug. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You know, forcing him and daring him on. But
and I quickly showed him that I couldn't.
Yeah, like he legit cannot. Like physically, he cannot
I don't know how
chug.
to do it.
Yeah.
There's like a technique that I haven't learned yet.
See, that's why.
You're optimistic that you're gonna get it.
Yeah. So Robert has been on since, what was it, May of 2020?
It was more like June.
Yeah. So it was like end of May
like,
into that first week of June.
Yeah.
And let's go to Vivian. Vivian, introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
My name is Vivian. I also am from a small town, way smaller than Carson. I'm from Fallon.
For those that don't know, Fallon is tiny.
Yeah, it is tiny. It's like an hour east of here. And I also moved up here for college. And I also was originally supposed to be a STEM major. So I feel like I could just copy and paste Robert's audio in. But, I was supposed to be theoretical physics is what my original degree plan was. Jeez. And then 2.5-ish years in, I was like, this is horrible. And so I switched into English, and that's where we went. And then I also graduated in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
And had a lot of time on my hands and applied here.
It's just misfits, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we should be called like Misfit Media or something.
We should rebrand. Yeah, why did you apply here? That sounds so fucked up. Like
no, like I'm genuinely curious.
Like genuinely, yeah.
I mean, so I was thinking about this yesterday because you and I were talking at a photo shoot about like our degrees and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I applied here once before because I used to work for a newspaper before this in my hometown. And I think when I applied for that newspaper job, I also applied here and got an opportunity to interview here, but I had just accepted the paper job. Yeah. And I think I just ghosted you guys. It could have been a different media company, but I am like 98% sure it was this
I can go
group.
back and look. Yeah. I'm going to go back and look after this.
And I remember taking the job at the paper and being like, this is really going to help like my portfolio. Yeah. And like, I remember looking up a website. And this is why I think it was this place, is I remember looking up the website and seeing that the owner was like a young person that was my age. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about working with someone my age, like in charge. Yeah. And now here we are. So,
well, how do you feel about it then?
I mean, I think at the time, I think it was more out of like, I don't want to say cockiness because it wasn't. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been cocky in my life, but like, I think it was more of especially because we graduated in the middle of the pandemic. I think it was like I need to be 10 steps ahead of where I think I should be. Because by the time everything opens up, I have to be ready. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think it was like, I'd rather work for this place that I can help build And then that ended up being a horrible idea anyway. So it's like, either way, I got screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about when you submitted your resume,
Yeah.
because I remember we had a ton, and you remember this. I was showing all of the resumes to Robert, and we were getting a lot of resumes that were plain, simple. There's nothing exciting about them. But when yours came through, you really killed it on there.
Yeah.
You remember this, right?
Yeah.
1 page, clean.
It's the beauty of having OCD. Is
Yeah.
just really make sure.
And Robert even was like, damn, she...
No, yeah, honestly, I was like a little, not concerned, but I was like...
You should have been, though.
She's going to take, like, my
Job.
spot. Like, she's actually more qualified than I am to be here. Just by the
Which
look
is
of your
so
resume.
funny, because I remember going into the interview thinking it's just going to be the one person, and then there was both of you, and I was like, I'm dead. I was like, I can't talk to 2 people. I can
Right.
barely talk to one.
Yeah,
Like,
I hate interviews.
Yeah. And I still remember you were the only one that was very specific of when you could interview.
yeah.
Everybody else was like, whenever, anytime. And it was like a Tuesday. Yeah, and I called you.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, since you told me exactly what time, can you come in this Thursday? And I think you didn't answer. You didn't answer the first time.
Yeah, it was like through Indeed, and then also an email, and then also a call. And
Yeah.
then I was like, which one do I pick? Which
Yeah.
makes me look more responsible? Like,
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know what it was, but I know when I called you, I was like, maybe her resume is better than who she is, because you were just so like, oh, yeah, sounds great. I'll see you there.
I mean, that's
But
kind
it
of the
wasn't-
point of
it
a resume,
wasn't-
though, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
to, like, make you look greater than
Yeah.
you actually are.
Yeah.
And then you just learn everything on YouTube later. Like,
Right? And that was the thing, is that when you did that, I was like, oh, maybe she's not that excited for the job.
Yeah.
And you were actually the very first person we interviewed, which when you walked in, it was both of us.
Yeah.
And I know you told me after you were hired that you're like, I didn't know it was going to be both of you. I thought it was just
No.
going to be you. And then
Yeah.
what did you say? You're like, damn, I got to impress both of them now?
Yeah, I was like, there's like a board that I have to like get approved, because I was like, the only other time I've ever been interviewed by more than one person at
Yeah.
once is when I was an intern for the city of Fallon in high school, which is like a government job.
Right.
So they had all of the heads of each department that you would work with there. And so that was the only other experience I've had. So it was like a serious
Yeah.
thing. And you were like, I think I was 16 when I applied. So it was like a big deal. But like, there was 2 dudes, and I was like, oh, what?
You were interviewed by the whole company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I remember, which like you guys told me this after the fact, but I remember like I was in this like business professional
Yeah.
like
We were just
fucking
wearing t-shirts.
blazer,
I know, and
and
we
you
were,
guys were
like,
in hoodies,
and-
and I was massive. I was like, are you guys vaccinated? You're like, yeah, it's cool. And I like brought copies of my resume,
Yeah.
and you were like, you're so professional. And I was like, you guys are wearing hoodies. Like,
I know. I was in shorts and a hoodie, the cookoff road was.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then what were you wearing? You were probably just
I mean, what I wear?
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
some
some random
clothes.
jeans and
so I thought I looked like a noob because I was like, man, I overdressed dramatically.
And
for
I
this.
honestly felt the other way. I was like,
Yeah.
I should be dressing up more for these
Yeah.
interviews. But realistically, that's the kind of the sense I wanted you to feel, is like you
Yeah.
didn't have to like over exceed. But remember her resume when we first saw it? It was just like, yeah, it was hella dope. And then when you came in,
Shout out to Adobe InDesign for that.
so when we did the interview with you, it was so easy that the whole interview was just so relaxed.
Yeah.
Ironically, I feel like it was the hoodies that did it. I was like, oh, these people don't care what I say. I was like, I'll
Yeah.
just do whatever.
And I was happy because, and I still remember I was messing up because I kept telling you that you had the job already. But then
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
remember this?
The whole
I kept
interview.
using words like, oh yeah, when you start, like,
Yeah,
but I
and
was
then he'd
like,
be like, if you get this job, and I'd be like, okay,
Like,
so
so-
what's the vibe? Like, I didn't want to be cocky and be like, oh, he said I got the job.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
great. Because he'd be like, we're going to have you come in and you're going to do this. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, we skipped
yeah,
9 steps. That's great. And then he'd be like, if you get the job. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what did I say?
did I just mess up?
Yeah.
That's reverse psychology.
And one of the things I did
Torture is
with one of the things I did with her interview that I did similar to yours was I was throwing in like just dumb questions or silly questions.
Like, weird personality test
yeah,
questions,
I was like, so does pineapple belong on pizza was
Yeah.
one of yours, and you're like, I don't know what you said. What did you say?
I mean, I feel like I said yes because it does, like, I'm fine with it. But also, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, just get a different pizza if you're not into it. I don't know.
Yeah. And then we were having a blast, and then you guys were like just talking it up.
Like some like references and
Yeah.
stuff. Like
And I think the one thing that impressed me the most was when I asked you, and I know this is simple,
Yeah.
but it doesn't happen. I was like, have you looked at our website? Do you know what we do?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. I'm like, so what do we do?
Yeah.
And then you started naming things off. I'm like, damn, she's on it.
you're like,
Well,
oh, word.
That was the
We do that.
word. That's the thing that, like, and I'm sure you guys probably had it the same because we're all like the same
Yeah.
era of high school stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what they did. It's
Yeah.
like you would have group projects and they'd be like, if you don't dress up for this project, we're gonna dock your points, or
Right.
like if you don't do this. So I was like, that's the stuff that they taught us was like,
Right.
you look at the website before you go, or their social media, or whatever. You dress business professional. You
Yeah.
bring extra copies, and then you were like, nobody's doing this, and I was like, oh, we've moved on, and nobody told me. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was faith. I mean, I told you the story. What happened after is that as we were walking down the hall after she left, me and Robert were like, yeah, that's it. She's the one.
Honestly.
But I kept saying, and it wasn't until we came in, I was like, look, dude, we got to take the chance because during his interview process, he was the last one I interviewed and he's the
Yeah.
one I hired.
Yeah.
And so this time around, I was like, I need to be sure. And so I had 2 more interviews the next day, and I told you this. The next morning, they both withdrew their applications.
Yeah.
They both emailed me and just said, hey, I was accepted at another job. And there was one more person being interviewed the following week. And you remember that?
You just got
How
like,
cringy that
PTSD
was.
just now.
It was,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just so weird.
And I actually called you and offered you the position before I
Yeah.
interviewed her.
Do you remember that phone call?
I do.
That phone call was like, because it was right after an interview. So it's like the charade of like owner to
Yeah.
future employees still up. You know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean? You don't really know each other yet. And I remember answering it and trying to be like all professional. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, what's up? And he was like, the other people didn't show up. Like, he just like told me. And I was like, I don't think you're allowed to tell me about other employees. He was like, the other people didn't show up. And he's like, so if you want to come in on Monday. And I was like, yeah, I guess. Like,
Just coming
Actually,
out
no. Because you were so concerned because you had asked because you were taking that week off.
yeah, I
And then
couldn't
you were
come
like,
in until
can I come in
Memorial
like
Day,
2
yeah,
weeks? But I mean, I can change it. I know you were like,
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Well, I mean, like, I was house sitting for my
Yeah.
aunt at Incline, so, like, literally that whole week I was just, like, going to the beach, so I
Yeah.
didn't want to be like, I can't do it. There's our timer. Let's see if it's still recording.
You want to go check?
I hope it's still recording.
It's still
Stop it and start it because it'll stop at like 30 minutes.
We should have said we're gonna take a break.
We're going to take a break.
Okay, we're back from
Taking a break.
taking a break. That was a good break.
Yeah, and it was funny because you were trying to like ask for that time off without
Yeah.
asking for it. But I was like, look, if you got plans, like I'm not tripping because
Right.
this happened like a couple days ago.
But that's also not something that you get in any other, like,
Right.
industry. Like, you don't get...
I'm not entirely sure if I press record. I did press record.
Like, you don't get a retail job or, like, a government job where they're like, you're hired, and you're like, can I go on vacation for a
Yeah.
week before I start? That's not a thing.
Right, and I was super understandable because I'm like, look, I just
I'm
offered
pretty
you the
sure I
job.
didn't tell you where I was going either. I'm pretty sure I told you I was just going to be out of town for the week.
Something
Because I
like
was
that.
like, that sounds less horrible
Yeah.
than being like, can I go to the beach for a week?
Let's go to the beach.
Yeah, but that was dope. You know what's funny is that after I called you,
Mm-hmm.
actually I was pulling up to a restaurant with friends, and then we had bottomless mimosas after that. I was pretty smashed after that, but it was great. And then
My boss.
I was going to say, listen, I got the Band-Aid ripped off real fast.
talking about that day one, your
Yeah.
first day on the job. So you guys, like I told you with Cute and Co's interview, Vivian was watching this as we're recording Cute and Co's, but talk about that first day. I want to know your point of view,
Yeah.
what you thought about that day.
Well, So my first day was Memorial Day, which like everyone's closed, but they were doing something, some shoot or something, and he asked me if I could come in at like 8, and I was like, of course. And so I came in, and it was just him, and he was like, I totally forgot it's Memorial Day. Robert's out of town. It's just you and me, and we're shooting this thing. And I was like, great. I don't know what that means, but for sure. And so we like set up a camera, and then he set up all this stuff, and he's like, we're just shooting this reveal for this work we did.
Yeah.
It's gonna be easy, but it'll be fun. And I was like, okay. So Lorena comes in with her daughter and like 4 bottles of champagne.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what we're doing, but okay.
Count me in.
And so then they shot some stuff. And it's like one of those days, it's like your first week in any job is like, you'll do whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be like, I don't want to do this. You're not comfortable enough to be like, no.
Yeah.
So I remember there was like the champagne flutes, and you were trying to get like a slow-mo shot of it being poured into the glass. And so you poured one, and then you were like, I want to do it again, drink this. And I was like, okay. And so I just drank it, not thinking that was weird in any way at 10 a.m. on Memorial Day. But my boss is like, do this.
In front of your new boss.
Chug this.
And I was like, okay. Now. And so then you did another shot, and you were like, I'm going to do it one more time. Drink this. And I was like, for sure? Like, and you and Lorena had like cheered and everything. So like you guys had some too. Yeah. And then I don't think I ever told you this, but I remember like as we were wrapping up, I was like, I feel a little buzzed right now, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to act cool.
Yeah.
And then she left, and we packed everything and cleaned everything up, and you were like, I am tipsy. We need to get lunch now. And I was like, okay. So we had lunch, and then came back, and we did some like editing on the video. Yeah. And I was like, if this is what this is going to be like, I'm not ready.
There seems to be a lot of alcohol involved.
Yeah.
I get iced. Yeah. You get forced to chug champagne.
And then he was like, BT dubs, we're going to Mexico for a week. Peace out.
Yeah.
Here's the key to the office.
You run the ship now.
Yeah.
It's because I remember the first week after you guys got back and we were all in the office together, and they like ripped you a new one jokingly because you said something on accident. Do you remember this?
I blocked those memories.
So I was like, we were talking about just like office type duties, like coming into the office type stuff as opposed to phone calls or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about like cleaning the office, and I was like, is that something that I do or do we all do or whatever? And you both were like, no, we usually all get together on Friday and like clean the office together. And then you were like, but if you want to clean it, you can.
Oh, no.
And then Jay and Edgar were like, whoa, is it because she's a woman? And you were like, please don't believe that that's what I meant. And I was like, I didn't, but now I do.
Because I was so defensive about it.
You were like, please no. And I was like, it's fine. Like, calm down.
I do remember that now, dude. We did not let go of that for the rest of the day.
It's the PTSD. It's coming back.
Wasn't that the day you dropped something where like, what, are you going to have Vivian clean it or something?
Oh, yeah.
You guys were really egging it on. I just remember the setup because you were so fast to be like, please don't think that's what I meant. And I was like, it's fine. Like,
I wasn't thinking that, but...
Yeah. But now I kind of am. Shit.
Oh, man, some great memories since then.
Yeah.
And that was only your second week here?
Yeah, well, it was right after you guys got back from Mexico, so it was like the first official day that we were all in here together.
Yeah.
Dude,
that was tough.
I feel like so much happened in the first month that you were hired. That like after that first month, in my head, I felt like you had been working here for like way more. I was like, wait, you were here for that? You were here for that too? Damn, you were here for that? Like.
But then also, it's like, he thinks I was there 3 years ago. He's like, we did this shoot, you were there. And I was like, no.
Yeah, it just feels like you've just been here for a long time. Oh, man, what great memories. And here we are, closing out 2021 as a team. With that being said, being that it's Thanksgiving coming up and all that good stuff, I do want to say thank you guys for everything you guys do, because that has really helped me as a person, as a business owner, and I think the growth of E.Sierra Media can be attributed to what you guys have done. You know, with the last episode with Cute and Co. Like I said, Robert killed it on that logo, killed it on that rebrand, and he continues to do that for our clients. And you know, for our clients listening out there, he's really the force behind creating the designs and the assets. And you know, with Vivian coming on, it has made scheduling and reaching out and you know leads being contacted a lot easier. So I appreciate you doing all that and always being a step ahead of the game. And
Like we did. I mean, it would already be posted. So the daylight savings TikTok,
saving.
Whatever.
Actually.
The way that you punched it up, where you were like, you need to have a sign outside the window, it pissed me off that I didn't think about that. I was like, that's such a good idea, and I hate that wasn't mine. But it's just out of like, it's like a competitive. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, that's so good.
Right. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Oh, no, but like...
Better punches. He punches better than me.
No, but I was going to say, like, the only reason I came up with that is because you had, like, the structure already in place. And I think that's, like, something that Edgar and I do a lot, too, is, like, I do something, and then, like, he's like, oh, I think you should change this. And I'm like, really, you want me to change that? But then I do it and I'm like, oh wait, that actually looks kind of cool. And like, I like it. It doesn't like anger me, but it just like And I've learned to like accept that, like the fact that
it's just like a competitive thing.
Yeah.
But I think also that's probably like you were saying. That's why we all work together. Is because I'm used to that environment where you sit in a writer's room with a bunch of other comics and you like work on each other's material, and you're like, oh, you know, that's a good setup, but this punchline might be better or something like that. So I'm pretty much just in a place that's similar to where I've already been, if that makes sense.
And I know you felt weird working with us because you're like, wait, you guys graduated the same year I did? Wait, you're my age? And I know you questioned a lot, like, how are you 26 and own a business? Like,
I mean, I know like young business owners, but I don't know many that have excelled as fast. Like if they're 3 or 4 years into their business, they're still small and it's just them, or they're just now getting to the marketing part of their business or something. It hadn't been like this, like you were, when I first got hired, you guys said like, I was doing some filing or something of tax receipts or something. And I was like, wow, you guys are so organized. And you both were like, we are the least organized. And I was like, you don't understand. I was like, the last places I've been that are new businesses 4 years in are not this squared away.
Yeah, I was surprised by that when you made that comment. Yeah. Because remember, me and you both were like, bro, how are we going to like
like a little
hand this over to her?
Thing
because
for your receipts. And I was like, look how organized these two
and we
are.
thought that was like the worst thing. I'm like, we could be doing this better.
Right.
And when you made that comment, I was like, man, I don't see it. But after I made that comment, other businesses that I know, you know, I really looked into their stuff, and you're right. Yeah. A lot of them don't have some of the structures that we do, and we thought we were like...
Especially creative businesses. Yeah. Because like the job I had before this one is very creative. I mean, you have to... There is some sort of like structure and professionalism with journalism, obviously, because you have a lot of serious stuff that you have to deal with. But like, I was there for the entire year of building this industry, essentially, in this small town. And like, I didn't know what we were going to do from day to day or when the paper was going to get out on time. Like, it was so chaotic and unorganized. And we had 3 more people than we have on that staff.
Damn.
So, like, I mean, I genuinely don't know of many creative businesses specifically that are this organized this early on.
It's a big compliment to us. Thank you for that. Like, because we don't see it from the outside. We see what we do, and sometimes we're like, oh, yeah, this is crappy. We could do better. And I think that has been also a good thing for us because we continue just to kind of know that we're not the best, and we continue just trying to strive for better.
Yeah. I can imagine there's probably a stereotype that you guys had to deal with too of like 2 young guys where they're like, oh, this office is probably just a like messy dorm room and they don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
like
it does kind of look like a messy dorm room.
But you know what? I'm sure there was some sort of
yeah.
like stigma stereotype that people were like, these guys probably have a cardboard box just full of random pieces of paper that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because you're the one that made this into a dorm room when you went to go shop for all those mac and cheese.
Unorganized dorm room.
Oh, yeah.
Remember you posted about it? You're like,
Yeah.
is this a dorm room or is this an office?
because it was like Reese's cups and like macaroni and ramen
Yeah.
and like sodas.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's awesome, you guys. Well, I'm gonna play pod decks with you guys just like I do with the entrepreneur, and let's break the ice on some of this. Yeah. Once again, you guys go ahead and head over to poddex.com to get your pod decks. And
I always wanted to do that.
yeah, you're always on the other end of it. Huh? You're like, dang, what questions are they asking? I would have answered it this way.
Just record some audio to make your own. Since you edit it, just make the commercial.
Just somehow plug yourself in there.
Yeah.
Sponsored
Brought to you
by
by
Stamps.com and Poddex.
Stamps.com.
Edited by Robert Newman. All right, take two each.
Really went for the middle deck, huh?
All right, let's see. Who wants to go first?
I asked you questions, right? Or
You can pick whoever you want to ask.
All right. Since you've had like a million fucking jobs, I'll ask you this question: what's the worst job you've ever had?
Good.
Oof. I won't name the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
then what's the fun in that?
Oh, okay. Well,
they're
we
not
want to
still.
name it. That's
They're
fine.
not still paying you.
Dude, it's been forever since I worked there. I used to work in downtown Reno called the Montage, and I worked the front desk / security there. And it was
Security?
yeah,
Damn.
and it was the worst thing ever because I was only like 18, 19, right?
So no one's gonna take you seriously as a security guard.
No. It
You'd
wasn't
be
even.
like, get out of here.
It wasn't even that. Everybody else that was front desk were all women. In their late 50s and 60s.
Oof.
Which was rough. Which I thought, I'm out of high school, and I have to I'm dealing with adults now.
No.
Oh, no. It was the worst. These ladies argued like none other.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And it was the worst. I was stuck in the swing shift, so I saw 2 different shifts, right? And then when I went to the graveyards, I would see 2 other different shifts, right? So it's kind of weird. So I worked like 3 days swing and then like 2 days overnight, which wasn't too bad being there because it was actually fun. I actually enjoyed working there. But it was like one lady disagreed with another one. And then like one morning, it was the final straw. She said, well, you tell so-and-so that I said. I'm like, I said, no, we're not doing that here. And this is where I stepped up. Yeah. And I seriously was just like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. You can tell her yourself. I said, I'm not doing this. And she kind of looked at me. And it was weird because that lady never liked me up until that point that I stood up to her. And then she had nothing but respect for me. But I didn't understand why you're like 50 and 60 and acting like girls that I left school like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
why is this happening?
That's a thing. Like, this is probably the least feminist thing I could say. It's the only girl in this office. But an office full of middle-aged women, I've worked 2 jobs that have had that. They revert back to middle school. It's like the worst thing in the world. That's my least recommended thing to do is work in an office full of middle-aged women. It's horrible.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, and I literally the only guy
Yeah.
in this whole entire like group of people. And you should have seen the team meetings. Oh man, everybody's. I mean,
At
if
each
you
other's
talked
throats.
about,
Yeah.
if you talked about, if COVID was a thing back then, they would have followed the restrictions to the point. Like they did not stand each other,
Yeah.
and it was hard. I mean, it was definitely hard, and I definitely was one of the jobs where the residents themselves, I became really good friends with a lot of the residents, but the people I worked with made it so hard to like want to go every night because you're just like, all right, what did so and so do now?
Yeah,
and
what's
it's
it
just like,
today?
yeah, it was all kinds of crazy.
And it was
stuff.
graveyard, dude. On
Yeah.
top of
Yeah.
that, how you have that much
Oh
time?
yeah, especially downtown. You should have seen during the
Yeah.
crawls.
Damn.
It sucked because like during any of the crawls, if they had makeup or anything, like our policy was the doors would stay shut. If you don't have your key card, you can't come in. So like if somebody was out drinking and they forgot their key card, I couldn't let them in.
Oh no.
You're like an RA for the
Yeah.
dorms.
Yeah, you're like a resident
Yeah, there was a
assistant.
couple of times that happened. There was once on one of the nights that some dude came in and he was about to fight me for no reason.
Damn.
He
Just
comes in the
alcohol.
door and he grabs everything in the front desk and just what the boom starts tossing things. And I open up my radio because there was another guard that was upstairs doing who knows what. I open up the radio and as I'm looking at him, I said, "Are we gonna have a problem here?" And so that guard is trying to like radio back, but I just left it open so you can hear this conversation. By the time, that guy tried to like come around and try to, was trying to fight me. And I'm like, this is not going to end well for you, buddy. Like, I'm telling you this right now. Like, you toss some stuff, whatever, let it go, leave. And he left. And as he was like walking out the door, the other guard comes down. And I was like, yeah, thanks, man.
Good
Appreciate
timing,
it.
bro.
Great time.
Thanks a lot.
But it was like, little things like that.
Damn.
That's crazy.
That just kind of made that job wasn't, like I said, it wasn't bad. It was the people that
The
were part of
experience
it
made it
that,
bad, yeah.
And then there was some stuff with that. I don't know. There's some legal stuff that when I was working there that was going on within the building, but like the building wasn't really structured right. And during the winter, it would rain and then it would freeze over. But because they have garages underneath, the water would fill up all the
Damn.
levels. Because all the cracks and everything that happened when they built this. And it was just, like, you had so many of those issues that were just like, what do you want me to do? You're calling the front desk.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's
What do I
every
tell
apartment
you?
in Reno.
I was going to say, what a great ad to live in Reno and pay
Yeah.
LA prices.
Don't come here.
But overall, like I said, the residents were amazing. They had a board, the HOA board, which is awesome. The president of that board at the time was just phenomenal. He's such a great guy. It was just those main people that were hard to work with. And that's why I did not like the job. And I would not go back if those women are still there. Just saying.
Talking to you, Betty.
Patrice. All right. Go ahead, Vivian.
Oh, me? Okay. I think I'm going to do this for both of you. What book belongs on everyone's bookshelf?
I'm getting exposed here.
I mean, there's like, it's like music. You got like a guilty pleasure book. Like, people have that.
Right. I mean, the problem is, I don't really read that often.
So, it could be
Clifford
a
the Big
book
Red
from
Dog.
when you were a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give me a second to think. You go first.
I would say The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I think that is a book that I know a lot of people attribute to entrepreneurship, but realistically,
We're going to die.
Oh my god.
like died. But realistically, that book helped me learn how to seriously not give a fuck about people's opinion and
Yeah.
just do what I think works for me. And everybody's different. Like, that book really tells you at the beginning, hey, if you're not willing to learn or if you're not willing to, take this into consideration, give this book to somebody else. Because it really talks about a lot of how to change your mentality. And I think a lot of people can learn from that. I think we care too much about our society, that we focus on creating our habits, our lifestyle around the societal norms. And I think you should really just say fuck them and do your thing. What about you?
All right. Let me get myself out of this hole. I don't read because I have a very racing mind.
Yeah.
So I read. I
I
try to
feel that.
read. I try to read so hard. I promise.
Get distracted.
But then I'm halfway through the page, and I'm like, what did I just read?
Yeah.
But I will say I was in high school when I read this book, and it was because it was an assignment to read the book. But it was one of the most enjoyable books I ever read, and because it was entertaining, not because of the content. But it was 1984
Oh,
by George
that's a
Orwell.
long read to have a racing
Yeah, and
mind, too. Good for you.
I
that's a good
read
book.
that
Wow.
cover to cover, and I still think about it to
Yeah,
this day.
I'm impressed. That's a hard book.
It's a good book,
It
though.
had
You
to
haven't
be
read
in
it?
there.
No, I
have?
read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we've all read it.
Of course
Nice.
I've read it. An English major? You
Yeah.
think I'm going to get through life without
Without
having to
reading
read that?
book,
Yeah.
So I guess that would be my pick, just because it makes you look smart if you have it on your
Makes you look
bookshelf.
smart.
And it's
It
referenced
takes
and
up a lot of space.
very relevant still.
To
Yes,
the
it
future.
takes up a lot of space. It's like happening right now, honestly.
Yeah.
Didn't
More or
they say
less.
that book was written in 1948?
George Orwell. I don't want to say 48. I feel like that's too early, but
Too
it
early?
might be. We need a fact checker.
Yeah, because somebody was like, this was written way years before.
Yeah, it was way
19
before 84.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely way before now.
but I don't think it was that early. I can't remember though.
Yeah. No, it's a good book.
Screens. All right,
Good book.
your turn, Edgar.
This one's kind of deep. When you die, what do you want to be remembered for?
Ooh, you asking?
Both of y'all.
All right. You want to go first?
No.
I'm super excited.
I want to be remembered for saving the world.
I mean, that wouldn't be bad though, right?
Yeah, I try to like just be like a radiant breath of fresh air all the time. I'm
Nice.
always like super positive, just a happy guy, and so I want to be remembered for like, just bringing some smiles to people's lives because I feel like that's important.
Take that. You?
I would say similar, but I would say maybe just like not being a dick. It's like it's so easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it's so easy in your everyday life to be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy. Traffic, like your
Yeah.
coworkers,
Oh,
your
yeah.
family, your friends. It's so easy to just be like mad at people all
Yeah.
the
Right.
time.
100%.
Which like maybe that's a bad thing to try and not be a dick all the time because then I just overthink everything that I do all of the time and then that's like a whole other problem for a different podcast.
Right. Yeah.
But like it's really easy to be a dick.
Yep.
So like,
Yeah.
if they were like, man, she was really good at not being a dick, you'd be like, I did a good job.
That's on her gravesite.
Yeah.
That's on her tombstone.
Vivian Ugaldi,
Not a dick.
very good at not being a dick.
The least amount of letters, so it costs not that much to
So it
talk.
costs not that.
Because
That's the last move. That was the last move.
I
that
don't
you
want to
made.
make this gravestone guy
Yeah.
too much work, so we'll just put not a dick on the stone.
I want to go see if that camera's still recording. I don't know. This is good stuff. I like it. I like this.
Just
It's a good thing this is a holiday episode, so then it's like a good excuse for it to be long. You know what I mean?
it's a holiday special.
Yeah.
What you
Really.
doing? Nothing, chilling at the Holiday Inn.
That's the intro for the book.
Just think you
Cool.
slouching down. Like
All right, who's next?
I think, Rob, you're next.
All right. Yeah.
Rebato?
I mean, it's kind of similar to the question we just had. If you were to die tomorrow, what little thing would you regret not doing? So, the wording is saying, basically, what do you want to do before
No
you die?
regrets.
No regrets.
Not even one letter.
Shut up, Sudeikis. Go.
I can't even answer that because I don't have regrets. Like I
Not
think
even one.
That's
I
very
really-
mentally healthy of you.
Yeah, honestly.
And the reason for it is I truly believe everything that attributes to our life and who we are today and who we'll be in the future, something has to occur. An event has to occur because if we look at like society as a whole right now, a lot of people our age believe they're invincible. So they'll go out party,
Yeah.
they waste their money, right? And in the long term, they're not seeing what's that attributing into the future. And everything that I've done in my life, I don't regret because I've learned from. And, maybe the people that are in our age that are still partying and, doing all that and spending money on alcohol, they're not going to realize that until down the road and it may be too late to go back and change anything. Mm-hmm. But I think as a daily person, for me, from day to day, I look at what I did today and how can I be better for tomorrow. Just like when I have these conversations with you guys, how can I be a better boss? How can I be a better owner to this business? The reason I ask a lot of that is so that I become better for tomorrow. And I think if I was to even die right now, I'd be fine with my life. I think I've done enough in my life that I'm happy and I can contently die right now and be cool with it.
Damn. That took a
I
turn.
was about to make a really morbid joke, but it's fine.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Say it.
no,
Say it.
it's too late. We've missed the moment.
You missed the punchline.
Yeah.
ahead.
No.
It
No.
wouldn't punch.
Yeah, now it's not gonna be funny, so it's just gonna be sad. So it's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to answer?
It sounds kind of cheesy, but I think I would say a regret I would have would be not taking enough risk, if that makes sense. Which a lot of people I talk to, again, like older, like relatives or something like that, think it's really risky to not have like a STEM degree, or like really risky to do stand up or like whatever. Which I don't disagree with that, but I wish I would have taken those risks a lot sooner.
Then no.
Well, even a lot sooner than, like, I didn't start doing stand up until after I graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
I wish I would have started early.
Earlier than
because
that?
I was already in, like, I was sold when I was a kid. I was sold when I was like 10.
That's badass.
Wow.
And, like, it's not unheard of for people to start early when they're a kid, but I mean, when you live in like a small town, that's not an option. And I kind of wish I would have taken the risk and been like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna make it an option.
Right.
Because maybe that would have changed even other people that I grew up with.
Right.
Maybe they would have been like, oh, I'm going to go do that other thing or whatever. So, like, I wish I would have taken risks
Sooner.
earlier, yeah.
Makes sense. What are the cards you got?
You have $100,000. You have to donate or create a charity. What do you do? For both of you, either of you. But you get to create a charity if you don't want to donate.
Can I like answer it a little bit differently?
Yeah.
Sure.
Not within the boundaries of that.
No, there's rules. Dude, come on.
Just because I go to Mexico every year, and like life over there is just so like sad sometimes. So if I had that much money, I think I would just like hand it out myself, you know, to people that I directly see like need it, you know. Even like here, the other day I was like in the Wendy's drive-through, and like I pulled up like around the corner, and like in this little dark spot was this homeless guy, literally like just crying. Like he was just crying there at night. Like, it's not like he was doing it for a show, like, or to, like, get money, because, like, I was the first car to go around that corner.
Right.
And, like, that just, like, made me so fucking sad. So, like, I feel like...
If it didn't make you sad, I'd question everything about
cried,
you.
Honestly. I was, like, I almost cried with him. But I would just, like, I don't know, hand it out to people that are just, like, in the streets like that. Or at least, like, buy clothes. And...
Yeah, that's a charitable cause. I mean... Still falls in the realms. I mean, it's not indirectly a charity.
Right.
It's a charity of you. I mean, you don't have to go through nonprofit stuff and do taxes. You're just giving it to people.
Yeah.
Facts.
What about you?
I actually have the same thought process. And mine goes back to my family. My dad and my mom started working in the shoe factories when they were 5 and 6 in Mexico. And I remember the first time I went to Mexico for the Baja races was in 2019. And I remember I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, do you think it's the same down there? Because she always told me these stories of like how poor Mexico is, and like they don't really have roads. I'm like, man, Mom, you old. It's been years. And then you get there and life is no different than the way that my parents described it. And same thing with, you know, that you were talking about is like, if I could just give those people that actually need it just straight up, I would just do that. I remember we were driving downtown Ensenada, and you could see a lot of that, the poorness. You saw a lot of people asking for money and little kids that were selling little candies just to try to make enough to feed themselves. And oh man, it hit me. I called my mom and I just said, Mom, I love you. Thank you for what you've done for me. Because we really take a lot of that stuff for granted until that happens or you actually physically see it. But same thing with you is that like if I had the money to just say here, I'd be content to drop $100,000 like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm cool with that. I guess that's the last card. Let's take it a whole turn just so y'all know.
Keep it light.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Oof.
Fantasy football.
Is that a guilty pleasure though, or is it just a pleasure?
I'm proud
Yeah.
Proud of my fantasy addiction. Let's see, my guilty pleasure.
It's gotta be something that you like feel gross even being like, ugh, like I don't want to tell them.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of.
Keep it PG though.
Oh my god, of course, dude. I play a lot of Overwatch. Like,
Do you?
so much. Like,
Finish.
I'm gonna
Say
get
it.
like exposed for being a nerd, but like, yeah, I like get home and I just waste hours on it. So I'm like,
We were talking about this a couple days ago because my roommate plays Overwatch a lot, and we were talking about all the different games that she plays. She's really into her PC right now, and I was telling her the conversation that Robert and I had like at the end of the workday,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Ask for his handle right now," and I was like, "All right," and I asked, and he was like, "Yeah, here it is. I will be there anytime," and I was like, "Okay."
yeah, I mean, I guess it's more so guilty now because it's like a dead game. Like nobody really plays that shit anymore. So, like, if it was Call of Duty or something, it would be-
Whatever. What about yours?
Guilty pleasure. I don't know if it's that guilty. I feel weird that I like them, but I really like the Oceans movies. They're like not good,
Uh-huh.
but they're on TV, and I'm like, I want to watch this. I don't really like anybody in it, like you
Yeah,
know.
the other day you referenced it, and I was like,
Yeah, I don't know why.
that movie?
It's yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. You're like that one.
Out of all the movies?
All of those, all three of them. You like those?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like there's so many other heist movies to
Right.
pick from that are significantly better. They're just good. They're not, but they are.
They're good in a not good way.
Yeah, but
That's
that's the
interesting
thing
one.
is like I don't like anybody in it. I don't like George Clooney. I don't like Matt Damon. Like I don't like anybody in it. But I'm like these movies are good.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
Clooney Tune.
Clooney Town.
If that's not his Instagram handle, I'm gonna be furious.
That wraps up the show for today, you guys. Any last words?
Do you feel lucky, punk?
To you.
Now we will get sued because you
Oh, damn. We'll cut that part.
change the words. Do you not feel an emotion that's anywhere near happiness?
Do you like chicken?
Actually, yeah. Thanksgiving. One thing you're thankful for.
Ooh. Should I be like a kiss ass or should I like say like? Because like honestly,
Politician?
you did like change the course of my career, like being hired here. So I would say I'm thankful for like having the opportunity to hop on here. Because like when I first got hired, I didn't know that much about like media production.
Yeah.
And now I have like references. Like I work with Ace Studios now too. So like you completely like 180'd my career. I was gonna work at Rayleigh's or something.
I remember you telling me. Didn't they call you after I hired you?
No, none of those stores called me, dude. I applied at Costco, Rayleigh's. I'm like a college graduate, can't get hired at Rayleigh's.
I got a degree in atmospheric science.
Like,
I'll tell you
what
what
the
the
fuck?
You don't
weather's
need a
gonna be
weatherman?
inside your work.
But yeah, I guess I would say I'm thankful for that. Do you have a kiss ass answer? So then we could go into the non-kiss ass answer.
Okay, that's a good idea. I like that. Okay, my kiss ass answer would be I'm thankful that you let me branch into multiple mediums instead of just being an assistant or just answering phone calls. Like I can learn how to use equipment I've never seen before, or like I can, learn how to set this stuff up, or like why this is the way it is, or how this looks, or whatever. Because I feel like a lot of, especially in like, if you talk specifically about the entertainment industry, because like we always talk about movies and stuff, you got to work grunt work for life in
Yeah.
order to move up an inch. So like you don't get to do all the things at once. You do one thing and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's a rare opportunity.
Right, to do everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm happy I hired you guys because it's been a kick-ass team. So All right, what
What's your
about your
non-kiss
non-kick
ass?
Yeah, kiss ass.
My non-kiss ass answer.
Oh wait, you have to give a kiss ass answer first.
Yeah.
I already did.
Smother
like
me.
5 times.
Smother me.
In compliments.
I'm thankful for both of you. And this is not kiss ass at all because I could fire you on the spot, right? But
make it kiss ass so that we can continue not kiss ass.
My kiss ass answer. From the bottom of my heart, I am thankful for you guys because E.Sierra Media would not be in the position it is today without the extra help and your willingness. You know, for example, when you first started, your willingness to do all those jobs and then really find what you're good at and keen to. And then same thing with you, Vivian. Like, we're teaching you all these other additional things, but for you to kill it on reaching out to clients and setting up some initiatives that might have taken me a lot longer to do has really helped E.Sierra Media expand and do all the great things that we're doing, especially for this holiday season. And for us to be able to give back to the community and you coming up with these ideas, just stuff that I wouldn't say I wouldn't have thought of, but I definitely wouldn't have put into action right away or the way that you do it. So thank you for that. All right, non-kiss ass answer.
All right, I'm really thankful for Envato Elements.
Isn't that a bit of a kiss ass if we get them to sponsor?
Sponsor me. They make life so much easier.
Speaking to the graphic design gods.
Right, honestly, because and YouTube tutorials. Holy
See,
shit.
that's what I said earlier. You put everything you think you know how
Yeah.
to do on your resume, and then you learn everything on
It's
YouTube
like-
later.
I get asked can you do this? I'm like, yes, because I could just type it into a YouTube
Cool,
search bar, and where there's a will, there's a way. So yeah, I'm thankful for tutorials and Envato Elements.
I thought this was going to be more
Love that
sentimental.
so much.
I thought maybe he
Yeah,
shout out
that
Daisy.
non-kiss ass.
girlfriend.
I like this.
I thought it was. I guess I could have said that. Yeah, I'm thankful for all the
It
supportive
goes
people.
in bottle days.
No. It's YouTube, Envato, Adobe.
Templates. The dogs I see randomly when I'm
Plants.
at Walmart. Yes.
Old school camera with film.
Yes.
Film. Then Daisy.
No, my scanner. My film scanner. No, I'm just kidding. I
My
love
film
you, Daisy.
development. And then Daisy.
And I love my parents. And
Awesome.
obviously they're a great support group. Yeah, I'm thankful for my parents because they're allowing me to have this buffer before I start making big bucks,
Cool.
Because without them I would probably have to have either another job or not this one.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
yeah.
What about you, Viv? And I'm saying Viv because everybody thinks I'm saying babe. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know who all these people are that you say think this, because the first time I ever heard it was yesterday when somebody thought you said it.
Shonda,
Yeah.
Kit, I also mentioned it. She's like, "Who are you calling babe?" I'm like, "No, Viv."
And Jay mentioned it.
Yeah, Jay
Did he
mentioned
really?
it. He heard it a couple times, and you mentioned it twice.
Wow.
I keep thinking you're calling her babe. I'm like, no, I'm calling her Viv.
First of all, if that were to happen, I would have quit so long ago.
So fast.
I promise I have not done that. There's no disclosure forms.
We don't have an HR department, so it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
little
He
late.
is
that's
HR.
right.
You just
Oh,
have
yeah.
to put the hat on. He'll be HR.
Okay, my non-kiss ass answer. I would say I'm thankful for. This is gonna sound horrible, and I don't mean it to sound this way at all. But I am thankful for the time that I had in lockdown during the pandemic, because we gotta
For the warrant.
specify why I
Can we
am
just put
thankful
warnings
for
on
a
the bottom
pandemic.
of
Yes.
this part?
I genuinely think that it really it wasn't necessarily a wake-up call. I mean, I think it was for everyone, but it was more of a wake-up call in the aspect of my personal content creation, which we kind of talked about this right after I got hired, after you guys found my TikTok channel. It's I don't like doing things in front of cameras. I like writing jokes, giving them to other people, whatever. I don't like doing stuff in front. And I think the seclusion of lockdown forced me to do it. I don't think I genuinely, not exaggerating, don't think it ever would have happened
If the
without lockdown. Yeah. Even if I had gotten this job and lockdown never existed, I still don't think it would have happened. I think I would have been like, no, I'm not going to do any of this. Like,
Damn.
And here you are.
Yeah.
We've actually pushed her
hating
too.
all of it.
Yeah. And we pushed her to it too because you were
Yeah.
like, no, I'll sit in the back. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you're going to be part of it. And
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Those TikToks that we made a couple weeks ago, I never would have gone outside and done all that. Are you kidding me? I would have been like, absolutely not. I would have been like, get somebody else to do this.
You champ the hell out of that.
That's awesome because that's awesome to hear. And with the year coming to a close, overall, I'm thankful for us being the company that we are and thankful for what we're doing and look forward to 2022 to see what else we can get our hands into. What crazy memories we're going to make. So anything else you guys want to say before we close this episode out?
It's saving. Not savings.
Once again, you guys, thank you guys for joining us again on the Daily Entrepreneur, and hope you guys spend the time of your life with your families. Hug them a little bit tighter this year. Be thankful for everything that you guys have, as we are thankful for everything that we have. And with the holidays coming up, please don't forget, if you guys can, donate to a charity, donate to Toys for Tots, Safe Embrace, any charity in your local area, and give somebody that smile of the holidays. With that being said, thank you guys for all of your support over the last 2 years. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this company and being part of the growth. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.